We've sent hundreds of millions of political text messages on behalf of our clients, and here's the truth. Most text messages that campaigns send never get read, and here's why. They're too long, they're too formal, and they don't have clear call to actions. I'm Kevin Rose, Head of Growth at RoboCent, and today I'm going to show you the 5 text scripts that have proven to work for the over 5,000 campaigns that we've worked with. Let's get into it. Let's go into the first text. I call this the voter ID text message. You're going to want to use it early in the campaign, 60 to 90 days out. Figure out who supports you. That is the goal of this campaign. And the script goes like this. Hi, first name. This is agent name with candidate for office here in city. You can see how we put the city right in there, making sure it's hyper local to the person that we're talking about. Also, just so you know, this first part of the script right here, this is agent name, the sender, with candidate for office. This is an identifier that's necessary in any political text message. Whenever you're sending out political text, make sure you have this is agent name with candidate for office, or else you're not in compliance. It doesn't necessarily need to be in the first part of the text message. It is here, but it needs to be somewhere in there. You need to identify yourself as the sender and who you're representing. We go on. Quick question. Can candidate count on your support in this month's election? Reply yes if you're with candidate, maybe if you're still deciding, and no if you're supporting someone else. P.S. If you reply, I can take you off our list so you stop receiving these text messages. Now, a couple reasons why I wrote this script, and this is, again, is through what we've learned working with a lot of our candidates. Quick question. Can the candidate count on your support in this month's election? You go down, we give them clear options of what to do next. If they're a supporter of you, they know who you are, yes, boom, out the door, done. If not, maybe if they don't know you, they're going to go maybe. That's a trigger to ask a leading question about, hey, do you have information about who this candidate is? Do you know what we're talking about right now? And then obviously, no, if they're supporting someone else, which is invaluable information. If you text a swing list and you're getting no's back from people, that's awesome, because that's going to save you money moving forward. You know that those people are not supporters of you, and it's easy to identify. You can move on, take them off your list. And then one of my favorite techniques at the end here, P.S. If you reply, I can take you off our list so you stop receiving text messages. I love doing this because we have to be self-aware as people who are sending political text and doing political outreach. People do not necessarily love them. They see them as spammy. And if we can, in exchange for gaining valuable data from them, take them off our list moving forward, I'm happy to make that trade. Now, I'm not saying use it in all cases because, for example, this text message can give us great data that we can leverage later in texting. But you could also take these people off your texting list and maybe leverage them in a digital focus list, right? So we're not going to text you again, but they are going to still get hit with mail, or they're going to still get hit with digital based on their response. It's quick and easy, and it's easy to respond. Yes, maybe, no. Quick and easy, clear call to action. And there's that incentive at the end. Like I just said, I love. Script number 2. The persuasion text. We're going to use this in the mid-campaign, and we're going to try to use this to move undecideds to your side. Hi, first name. Agent name here with candidate for office. Candidate is running because one specific hyper-local issue, let's say running to decrease property taxes, right? One sentence about the plan to fix it. We're going to fix it by voting no on any new proposals to raise property taxes. Can the candidate count on your vote on election day? Reply yes if he or she can, right? Again, a big, clear call to action, very straightforward. You're going to frame the problem that we know is hyper-local and a very sensitive issue for our voters, right? One sentence to explain it so they know what the hell we're talking about. And then can the candidate count on your vote? So why this works, it focuses on one issue, not 5. Like I said earlier, a lot of these political text messages are way too long. You don't need to put every issue that your campaign cares about. Pick one. I would say 1, in some cases, maybe 2 or 3 in a political text message, but for this specific case, choose one that you know is your winning issue and hit people with it, right? Property tax is a great issue for this. Nobody likes their property taxes going up, okay? It's a great issue to hit people with and see if you can get support for it. Again, has a clear CTA. Let's go through the example written out as it would sound for your campaign. Hi, Sarah. Alex here with Stacy from Milford City Council. Stacy is running because our property taxes have gone up 23% in 2 years. She will cap annual increases at 2% so we can make living in Milford affordable again. That should be make, not making. Can Stacy count on your vote on November 5th? Reply yes. If she can. Boom. It's that simple. We're getting valuable data back from the voter while also persuading a lot of swings who may not even respond to the text messages. We're still doing some persuasion on the back end. Pro tip here. You're going to want to test 3 to 4 different issues with different audiences here. You can run this almost as a mini poll, which I always like to tell candidates to do. Get feedback from your voters. Again, this is a peer-to-peer text message. We're trying to go back and forth with the voters. It is not a generic blast. We're not trying to bombard people with information. Have a conversation. This is a good way to do it. Script 3, the contact card text. I love this one specifically because RoboCent is one of the only platforms you're actually able to do this in. When to use it, you're going to want to use it right after contact with the voter, or maybe if you were in the general area. So what I like to tell campaigns is you just sent volunteers out to an area to canvass a couple different precincts, right? I love to follow up with a text message to those same voters saying, hey, my team was out there today. They really enjoyed talking to you. Whether they talk to you or not, here's my contact card. Call me anytime if you have any issues. I'm always willing to hear you out or hear about any problems that I could potentially solve for you. The goal here is to make the voter feel heard, make them feel like they have a special connection with the candidate. Here's a script. Hey, first name, candidate asked me to shoot you over his or her contact card. If you ever have a question, idea, or just want to share what's going on in our community, you can reach out to the candidate directly. Add his or her contact card to your phone so you have it moving forward. Call or text every time with a little smiley face. I like this more than emojis because it feels less ChatGPT slop written, right? A little smiley face feels very human to somebody who's receiving a text message like that. And at the end, obviously for compliance sake, this is from agent name with candidate for office. I absolutely love this new technology that RoboCent has just dropped. It comes across like you would text a friend their contact card. So it feels exactly the same. They open it up. You can have the campaign phone number, the campaign email, the name of the candidate, et cetera, and they can just add it directly to their phone. It is an awesome piece of technology that we've unlocked thanks to our development team. I highly, highly encourage you guys to use it. Why this works? It feels like a direct line. I have the number of my state representative. I have the number of my state senator or the candidate or the local city council person. So guess what? If I have an issue that pops up, I've got this pothole in my road that nobody seems to want to fix. I can call you up and you can actually resolve that problem for your voter. I mean, is there any better way of gaining a vote than solving an actual pain point for a voter? I don't really think so. This allows you to do it, even if you have to leverage an intern or a volunteer on the back end to answer some of these calls. One note I will make too, people get very cagey in politics about giving out contact information like this because they think there's going to be some sort of bombardment from voters. In my experience, it's not the case. People feel very grateful that you're willing to give their number and they really appreciate that, but very rarely do they contact you themselves. If they do, it's a very manageable number, and most of them are incredibly polite. Even if they disagree with you on the issues and that's why they're calling you, they just appreciate the fact that you picked up the phone because most politicians would never do that. I highly encourage campaigns to use this tactic. Here it is written out. Hey, Sarah, Mark asked me to shoot you over his contact information. If you ever have a question, an idea, or just want to share what's happening in our community, you can reach Mark directly. Add him to your phone so you've got his contact moving forward. Call or text anytime. Jenna with Mark Lamb for state representative. Pro tip, you do generally want to send this to a more friendly list. Like I said, I've never had issues with any list I've sent this to, but generally speaking, I would send this to a friendlier list, maybe a swing to favorable list of potential voters. You definitely don't want to send this to people who you know do not like you and won't vote for you. Moving on, script number 4, the yard sign text. Again, one of my all-time favorite text messages. When to use this? Usually around after Labor Day is when signs start going out. I like to send this text out around them. The goal is to get supporters to request a yard sign, capture the delivery details from them. This is amazing. I've actually seen this transform, especially local races, right? It's very hard to get yard sign placements by just knocking on doors. It's possible you see people do it, but at scale, you run into difficulties. You can run meta ads to do it as well. Still, you're paying a little bit of a premium to be able to do that. Texting is by far the best way to do it because you can blast out messages to your voters. And honestly, you're going to get a steady stream of people who want them. It also creates a little bit of a network effect, and it scares opponents too. If you want to scare your opponent, text this out to 70,000 people. See how many yard signs you place in the district. They will not be having a good day in your opponent's campaign office. I promise you that. Because like that, you'll turn around within 3 days, you'll have yard signs all over the city. It'll feel like people are getting bombarded with your message. And I'm going on a complete tangent right now. Yard signs are important. People like to say yard signs don't vote. And it's true. Yard signs don't vote, but it does send a message. It shows your neighbors that this is a popular candidate and a lot of my neighbors support them. If they're not very politically engaged, they don't really know who they're going to vote for, they're going to see that as a sign. This person's obviously doing a great job. All of my neighbors support them. Keep that in mind. I like to do this in conjunction with an endorsement that we just got. So prominent local person just announced they're supporting candidate for office. Want to show your support too by placing a candidate for office yard sign year long? Reply yes, and our team will deliver your sign within 24 hours. You can also do this. Reply with your address, and our team will deliver your sign within 24 hours. It doesn't really matter. Generally speaking, you should have the address of people you're texting. I mean, if you have the data on them, you generally know what their home address is. I try to keep it super simple. I elicit a response from them on the front end. So if we did the yes one, right, that's an easy first response. And then you can follow up, hey, confirm, please confirm your address and let us know if you'd like us to drop it off or place it in your yard for you. Because a lot of people are just like, hey, throw it in my yard. I don't even want to touch it. Don't drop it off at my door. Then I have to do it, right? So this is a great follow up text, right? Once you get that initial positive response. And again, this works fantastic. It's also nice. It's just that ease, that initial easy yes that gets you in the door. And most people, once they're engaged, they're going to respond. Just make sure you have the agent or who's ever responding to these texts on top of it so they can respond immediately. Why this works, specifically on the endorsement side, it leverages a local trusted official to validate the candidate. I like to use this specifically. A lot of local municipalities will have nonpartisan mayors and city council people who are extremely popular. They'll run in off-year elections and get 80% of the vote. They're nonpartisan. They do a great job. They're kind of figures, famous in the community. And especially when that candidate is a partisan candidate, it can go a long way, and it can give a degree of credibility to the candidate they may otherwise not have had, right? And you can do this while also getting yard signs placed for your candidate. The yes removes the friction, like I just said. The 24-hour delivery window drives an immediate response. They're like, whoa, they're close. Like, they're in my neighborhood. I got to respond right now. This is not like, hey, we'll drop it off in 3 weeks. There's no urgency to that, right? And it reads like a personal invitation. The mayor just endorsed this candidate. Do you want a yard sign to show your endorsement, to show your support too? You'll get a lot of yeses from this. Here it is all written out. Hi, Sarah. Jenna here with Tom Netherland for State Senate. Mayor Gates just announced he's supporting Tom for Senate. Want to show your support too by placing a Tom Netherland for Senate yard sign on your lawn? Reply yes, our team will deliver within 24 hours. A note here, make sure you're segmenting your list if you are using a mayor candidate in a state Senate district, because obviously a state Senate district is probably going to cover a bunch of different cities. So make sure you're segmenting your list if you do that. You could also use like a county official. County sheriffs work well for this. County sheriffs are generally fairly popular, especially if you're focused on law enforcement for your campaign and stuff like that. That's a great one to use. Find a local trusted figure, even a business person, a non-political person. Leverage their endorsement. Tie that to a yard sign because you can flip it and say, hey, show your support too, just like the mayor or the sheriff. And a pro tip and something I absolutely love, attach a photo of your candidate's lawn sign in a local yard so their recipient knows immediately what you're talking about when you text them. You don't need some fancy graphic or anything like that. Just shoot a picture of the candidate's yard sign in a lawn, or my favorite, which is the candidate placing a yard sign in a lawn. It just gives that like immediate, oh, I know exactly what they're talking about. Yard sign, candidate, et cetera, et cetera. And script number 5, the GOTV text, the one that's going to bring you home. You're going to want to use this in the final 7 days before Election Day. Now, granted, you're going to want to be sending a lot of get out the vote text. This is just one example to use. Use this to build out variations, because you could be sending 2-3 texts a day depending on what your capacity is and kind of where you're at in the campaign. But this is simple. You got to turn your supporters out, get them to actually vote. So here we go with this one. Hi, first name. Election day is next Tuesday. Letting them know exactly when it is to vote. You're going to be surprised. Us in the political world, we assume people know when elections are. Not always the case. You got to let them know when the election is. Your polling location, you give them the address, the hours it's open. Super simple. What do they need to know? When it is, where it is, and what time they can vote, right? They can start to create kind of a mental plan in their head. Okay, next Tuesday I got to work, and then I got to pick up the kids from school, so I can probably go before work because the polls open at 7, or maybe after work, or maybe I could slip away for lunch too. But we're also trying to get information. We're trying to clean up our list here, right? So can candidate count on your vote? A vote for candidate means, and then we hit 2 to 3 main points of why the candidate is running, because then we get back to a little bit of persuasion on our end as well. Reply yes to confirm. Super simple, easy. This removes all friction, tells them where and when. It's a direct ask, can we count on you? And it's an easy confirmation. So here it is, all built out. Hi, David. Election day is next Tuesday. Your polling location is Lincoln Elementary. The hours are 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Can Joe Brown count on your vote? A vote for Joe is a vote for better local roads and lower property taxes. Reply yes to confirm with our little compliance thing here, who was sent by. This says only here. You can send this to people who said yes in your voter ID text. You're going to have a favorable universe of people you know who you need to turn out. So I would do this in conjunction with the people who you got yes responses from, perhaps an earlier text message. But definitely you want to make sure you're sending this to your core group of voters. You don't want to spend money getting people out to the polls who are not going to vote for you. So you're going to want to send at least 3 GOTV texts. I would say more than that. You need to get your supporters out to vote, people. We know it's the name of the game. Some bonus tips that we've talked about, and they kind of work with what I said with why some political texts don't work. Timing matters. Send them at good times of the day. Don't send them at 7 p.m. on a Friday when people are at the local football game or something like that. Compliance matters hugely. You're going to want to use a 10DLC compliant platform like RoboCent. They're the most compliant in the industry. You're going to want to include all the opt-out language you need, and do not text people on the do not call list. All of these things can land big fines on your campaigns. You don't want to deal with that. You don't want to have to pay those fines. I've seen it ruin campaigns before. The personalization matters. You see it in every text script. Use first names, reference local issues, name the candidate over and over again. All this matters so it doesn't feel like some weird generic blast text message that people are going to delete immediately. And then response handling matters. At RoboCent, we have agents that do all the response handling for you if you choose to do so. If you don't have that, make sure you yourself, the campaign manager, volunteers, whomever, you have people ready to actually answer. Again, this is peer-to-peer text messaging. This is a two-way conversation between voters and the elected official or the campaign or the candidate. The bottom line, texting works if you do it right. You're going to want to keep it short, personable, and actionable, and test everything. If you have the resources to test, you should be. Texting can work as a great way to figure out issues that are important to the community, who's supporting you, who might not be supporting you. It's really great with list building, cleaning up those lists, and everything like that. I'm going to include this entire document, all these scripts below in the show notes here. So go ahead, access them, use it for your campaign. If you have any questions or if you want to run any of these, click below, visit robocent.com. Our team will get you all set up with what you need.